It was just past midnight when Ethan Wells stepped out of the elevator and into the dimly lit halls of Wells Tech's downtown headquarters. The city outside sparkled through the full-length windows, but the office was silent. Too silent. Most employees had long since gone home, but Ethan had left something behind. His tablet with crucial investor data, and he needed it for a 7 a.m. meeting with Singapore. But before we dive in, leave a comment and let us know where you are watching from today. And if this story speaks to you, hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories. As CEO, Ethan rarely came in after hours. He had people for that, assistants, operations managers. But tonight, something pulled him in personally. His shoes echoed against the marble as he passed the break room, then stopped. A soft light glowed from beneath the door. Frowning, he nudged it open and froze. There on the worn leather couch, curled up like a child, lay a young woman. She wore simple slacks, a work blouse slightly wrinkled, and clutching a manila folder to her chest. Her other hand rested gently over her rounded belly. 7 months pregnant, Ethan guessed. Maybe more. His breath caught. He knew her. Barely. Her name was Claire. She worked in accounting. Always quiet, always early. He'd only spoken to her once, in passing. But what was she doing here? At this hour? He stepped forward quietly, not wanting to wake her. Then he noticed the post-it note beside her bag. Just need a few hours. Please don't call security. His heart twisted. He scanned the room. An empty takeout container, a worn pair of sneakers, a tiny framed photo of a toddler. This wasn't just a nap. She was living here, and he hadn't known. He looked down at her again. In the glow of the flickering desk lamp, her face looked so peaceful, yet worn, tired. Ethan took a step back, but something stopped him. The folder in her arms had a label. Wells Tech HR, maternity request, rejected. The lump in his throat thickened. She shifted slightly in her sleep, pulling the folder tighter. And in that moment, something inside Ethan cracked. Morning sunlight slanted through the office blinds by the time Claire stirred. She blinked, startled to find a blanket draped over her shoulders and a hot cup of tea on the nearby table. Confused, she sat up and gasped. Across the room, Ethan Wells stood by the window, tie loosened, eyes red. I didn't mean to, she started, fumbling with the folder. He turned to her. Why didn't you come to me? Her mouth opened, closed. I submitted the leave request. HR said it didn't meet eligibility. Said I hadn't been here long enough. So you slept here instead of going home? Her eyes dropped. I don't have one. My lease ended last month. I thought I'd be approved for time off and could figure things out. But when they said no, I didn't have anywhere else. Ethan's voice was rough. You have a child? She nodded. A son. He's staying with my sister for now. I was trying to save enough to bring him back. I just needed to hold on a little longer. And no one knew? I couldn't risk getting fired, she said, voice cracking. If people knew I was staying here, if you knew, I thought it would be the end. Ethan ran a hand through his hair. I trusted my team to care for our employees, he said, and I see now I failed. Claire's eyes filled. You didn't fail. You just didn't see. He looked up sharply. But I do now. He crossed to her, kneeling beside the couch. You're not getting fired, Claire. You're getting a promotion. She blinked. What? He smiled sadly. You're resilient. You've been working full-time while pregnant, homeless, and still performing above average on every project. That's not just strength, it's leadership. Her lip trembled. I don't know what to say. Say yes, he replied. Not for me, for you, for your son, for your baby. And this time, she did. 2 weeks later, Claire stood outside the HR boardroom, nerves coiling in her stomach like a live wire. Inside, Ethan had gathered the top executives to address what he called a matter of critical human decency. Claire was dressed in the new maternity suit he'd personally arranged for her. She held a copy of the rejected HR form, her own and 2 others he'd found after digging deeper. She wasn't alone, and she wasn't afraid. The doors opened. Ethan stepped out. They're ready for you, he said softly. She nodded. The presentation she gave was quiet but powerful. She told her story, showed her documents, then laid down a proposal: maternity and paternity support, emergency housing stipends, an internal review board to handle special cases with compassion, not bureaucracy. There was silence at the end. Then one executive stood, then another. Applause followed. Later, Ethan approached her by the window. "You changed the company today." Claire looked down at her belly and smiled. Number she did. He grinned. "Then you'll need something for her first day in this new world she helped create." He handed her a small envelope. Inside, a deed to a 2-bedroom apartment. Claire's hand flew to her mouth. "Ethan, it's close to daycare, safe, and fully furnished," he said. "No rent, no catch, just a thank you." She broke into tears, and so did he, because he knew then this wasn't just about policy, it was about people. And sometimes all it takes is one brave woman asleep on a couch to wake a company and a CEO up. Just when life began to settle into a rhythm, the past came knocking. Claire received an email one late Friday afternoon. The sender's name made her stomach clench. "Baby, I need to talk." "Jason." Jason, her ex, her son's father, the man who left without explanation after she told him she was pregnant, the one who vanished. Now, months later, he wanted to talk? She stared at the screen, torn. Ethan noticed her hesitation from across the office. "Everything okay?" he asked gently. Claire shook her head. "It's the baby's father. He wants to meet." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Do you want to?" "I'm not sure," she admitted, "but maybe I need to hear what he has to say." Ethan nodded. "Then I'll go with you. You shouldn't have to do this alone." The next day, they met Jason at a local cafe. He looked thinner, older, but his presence was still unnerving. "I messed up," Jason said as soon as they sat. "I got scared, ran, but I want to be part of my child's life now." Claire kept her expression neutral. "You disappeared, without a word." "I know," he said quickly, "but I'm back. I've changed." Ethan said nothing, but his protective stance beside Claire spoke volumes. Jason added, "I've hired a lawyer. I want shared custody." Claire's heart dropped. Not again. Claire walked out of the cafe shaking. Ethan placed a steadying hand on her back. "He's trying to force his way back in," she whispered, like nothing happened. "He can't undo your strength," Ethan replied. "You've built a life without him, and you don't owe him your peace." That night, Claire contacted a lawyer of her own. Over the next few weeks, the legal battle began. Jason argued for involvement. Claire defended her right to protect her child from instability. Ethan stood by her side at every hearing. Claire testified with calm but firm conviction. She showed documentation of her sacrifices, her progress, her child's future. And finally, the judge ruled. Jason was granted supervised visits only. Claire would maintain sole custody. Outside the courtroom, she exhaled for the first time in weeks. "I didn't want to shut him out forever," she told Ethan, "but I had to protect my child." Ethan nodded. "You did what real parents do." Months passed. Claire gave birth to a healthy baby girl named Hope. The office threw a small baby shower. Ethan bought a bassinet for the break room. Claire's son, now reunited with her full-time, adored his baby sister. And Ethan, he became more than a CEO. He became family. On a quiet evening, Ethan stopped by Claire's apartment. Hope cooed in her bassinet. Her son built a tower of blocks nearby. Ethan placed a hand on the doorframe. "You know, I've seen a lot of power in boardrooms, Claire." She smiled. "Let me guess. None of them compare to a tired mom juggling 2 kids and a full-time job?" He chuckled. "Exactly." She stood beside him, eyes soft. "Thank you, Ethan, for everything." He looked at her then, not as a boss, not even as a man in awe, but as someone whose world had been completely and beautifully altered. "Thank you for falling asleep in that office," he whispered, and together they looked forward, to a future built not on circumstance but on choice.